I want to talk to you now about a really important tool. This is actually a fun tool that you can teach your daughters. It's called root beer feelings. And we started talking about root beer feelings years and years and years ago in our summer camps, trying to give kids kind of a framework about how to think about their emotions. So root beer feelings goes like this. If you take a can of root beer and you pour it into a mug, you get root beer in the bottom and then a little bit of foam in the top. If you keep pouring and pouring and pouring, you get more and more root beer, but you also get more and more foam until eventually the foam may spill over and make a mess. Now, most people pour the root beer for the root beer, not the foam. The foam, metaphorically speaking, is your anger family of feelings. Things like mad, angry, frustrated, annoyed, revengeful, hateful. Those are foam feelings. And I always ask girls, are those bad feelings? And 99 times out of 100 they say yes. And I say, no, they're not bad feelings, they're just feelings. And the only time those foam feelings are a problem is if you foam at people. If you take your anger out at people, yell at people, things like that. But they're just emotions. But even more important than that is that under the foam is a root beer. That's the most important thing. And under our anger feelings, there are always more important feelings that I call root beer feelings. And root beer feelings are all the other emotions. Things like sad, hurt, scared, disappointed, embarrassed, controlled, disrespected. And what happens is we feel those feelings first. The root beer feelings are the first ones we feel, but instead of expressing those, we tend to just get angry. That's the reaction to feeling root beer feelings. And so when I see girls in my office, in my counseling practice, who are brought in because they're so angry and they're throwing fits and things, I never focus on the anger. I'm always interested in what's going on underneath that. What are their root beer feelings? Because, and this is the important part, if you can figure out in the moment when you're angry, what are my root beer feelings right now, and you express those, the anger just goes away. It dissipates. It's not about the anger. It's about what was causing the anger. And the same thing goes for your daughters. I want you to teach them, anytime they start to get frustrated or angry, instead of expressing those at people, I want them to instead take a short break, check in and say, what else am I feeling underneath it? What's going on? And if they can identify that I'm feeling disrespected or controlled, or I'm feeling hurt or sad or scared or wherever it might be, and then they find some healthy way to express that by sharing that, or by drawing or writing a letter, or by journaling, or some healthy way, which I'm going to talk about later in this course. If they do that, then the anger goes away. Now, sometimes people can't access the root beer feelings because they're too upset. So I tell them, go do something to blow the foam off. So a lot of times what will happen is the girls will take a 2-mile run or a 3-mile run, or they hit a punching bag, or they do some kickboxing. Or I've had a lot of girls who tell me they'll take a drive in their car, they park it someplace, and they just start screaming. And when that happens, they get that anger out, and then what happens after the screaming is they start crying. And what happens is, so the crying is, I've blown off my anger with the screaming and ranting in the car, and now what's left is what's really going on. They're really important feelings. And so teach your daughters, if they can't access it, to take a break, blow off some steam, blow off some of the foam, and try and get to what's really going on, express that in a healthy way, express their root beer feelings, and the anger goes away. So they may need to learn how to have quiet time to access that. They might need a blowing off of some steam or some energy first. But most important is to figure out, what are my root beer feelings? And that's a good exercise for you to do right now, parents watching this, is think about the last time you were mad, the last time you were angry, and try and figure out, what was I feeling underneath that? What were my root beer feelings? And if you take a few moments, because a lot of times if I ask girls that, they'll say, I don't know. I say, think about it, just slow down. You do know. You may need to get quiet for a moment in order to know what was going on inside of you, but the same thing for you right now. Think about the last time you were mad at your kids or anybody. Try and figure out, what were my root beer feelings, and then express that. This is a great concept to teach your daughters.